right, everybody, welcome back to Bourbon Banter Evans. Today we are in Justin's nice renovated room. Thank you, Justin, for having us.
No, man, I'm glad to finally have it. I guess renovated would be the word.
It is.
Finally redone. For the most part, I'd say we're about 85% complete. There's only a few things. I got to get some bottle placements finished, things of that nature. We are sitting in these nice, giant bourbon barrel stave bar stools around the bourbon round table.
Exactly. Well, what do we have in store for us, for the people today?
So, cheers to you guys out there. Thanks for joining in.
Yep.
The like and subscribe is always his
Indeed.
thing. I always forget that part. That being said, what we are doing is best of 2021, and it is 2022 because you got to make sure everything comes out in 2021.
Exactly.
And out of all the brands and all the bourbons that we've tried, we chose the entire line of Taylor because everything that they put out with an L21 on it was killer.
Phenomenal.
Good. So,
cheers.
We've already poured the small batch. So we're starting with small batch. We're going to try that, talk about that. Not that you haven't heard us talk about small batch before, but we're just going to mention a couple of little things of when they came out and then comparing it to other years and stuff like that. Does that sound like a good idea?
Sounds like great.
Sounds like a great thing to try.
Yeah, and especially this one again.
Oh man, yeah.
We
still can't talk enough about the Taylor
No.
small batch.
No, the small batch is just phenomenal. I don't know of a bourbon on this table that's not phenomenal. Even we're hiding back here, but it's still here.
Hey, that's right, our control.
Control's still here.
I don't know that we'll get to the control.
We might not.
Because we do have 4 bourbons to try, and we'll talk a little bit about them. We'll do a little bit of tasting notes. We'll leave price out of it. We all know the price woes in the industry, so we'll leave that out of it. I am, distillery matching.
Yes, you are.
So Buffalo Trace produces these brands, these 5 brands, which we all know that. The Taylor line's been around since around 2011, give or take, when they revamped it. Took that brand back over. Sazerac and Buffalo Trace, took that and just started putting those out. So obviously there's a couple other in the line, but these are the ones that were put out during 2021. So keep in mind, this is our best of 2021 after trying so many great bourbons for the entire year. 2021 put out some good things.
They did.
There's a lot of batches from other brands. There's a lot of batches from brands that were new that were put out. There was single barrels that were put out that were fantastic, but as a collective whole, Bourbon Banter Evans, me and Charles have decided that the Taylor line won it, so therefore we're going to walk you through the line. Thank you to everybody that has participated in helping us get these bottles.
Very much so. Really appreciate that, guys.
And it's going to be great to try these. 2 of them are fresh cracks. We really appreciate that, so thank you again. The 2 in the middle, yep, single barrel and the barrel proof. Now, we've had these in the past, but this will be the first time I'm doing a flight of Taylor.
Yep, definitely.
That's my first time.
Mine too.
Yeah.
So, no, everybody, again, like he said earlier, hit that button down below, like and subscribe. I mean, it's
so good.
It's so good.
So, quick rundown. These are bottle and bond with the exception of one. So they're all going to be 100 proof, aged a minimum of 4 years. That's the law for bottle and bond. 1 distilling season, 1 distilling site. These are DSBKY 113, which is your distilled spirits plant number. If we haven't mentioned that in a while, just so you guys know. And then the only one that's not in the Taylor line is the barrel proof.
That's
and
right.
So it is not bottle and bond because it is not 100 proof. It's varies by batch as far as that proof goes. Warehouse C is still bottle and bond, and that is the later release in the year that ended up being the one that kind of stole the internet for a little while.
Right.
And it did calm down eventually, but if I would describe it, of having had it before, and I think we've had it in a video before too.
We sure have.
I describe it as like the super premium small batch.
Small batch, yeah. I mean, it's amazing how good it is, but how close it is to a small batch. And we've done the video before. It's still, it's amazing to me that even how premium it is, how the 21 small batch is just phenomenal.
Oh, that lit it up.
Yeah, and not to take anything away from Warehouse C because it's a phenomenal drink.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yes.
None of this on this table was bad, and even considering the beer that we have.
Right.
To cleanse in between, since we chose not to have water because we forgot to get the water.
That's
so
right.
We'll be pouring Taylor on top of Taylor.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So again, BT1.
Yes, it is.
BT1 at its best, I feel.
I agree 100%.
You get those dark fruits or dried fruits, as I call them, those dates, figs, and sometimes even raisins. A little bit of sweetness going on from that BT1 classic mash, but it's just those dried fruits, and I mean just fantastic. And these got a little bit of sweetness. This you do notice if it's your first pour of the day, you do notice that it has 100 proof to it.
It does,
but it goes away so fast, and then makes this great flavor left behind.
But what's weird is what I've always liked about the Taylors is you notice it, but I hardly ever get any burn down. If I'll notice it on the tip of my tongue usually.
That's it.
And then that's it.
And it's generally only on the first sip.
Yeah.
When it's like your palate is saying, oh, whoa, we're not drinking soda.
Oh, no. We're away from water now.
Yeah. And I can't say enough about the Taylor Small Batch, but we've raved about it multiple times.
And as you can tell, we do kind of like we have liked it.
Yeah, we've liked it, yeah. And so, definitely, again, we've talked about this. We did a video on laser codes, which they have, actual laser codes, dot matrix, things like that. Next time you're at a bar or if you're at a store and you see one, grab it, look at it, see what the laser code is, and actually see what year it was produced. Because that's one of the things that they do on not just bourbon and being in the market now. I've seen and been paying attention to a lot of the Sazerac produced brands as they put those dot matrix and laser codes on just about all their brands.
Well, nerd out a little bit because you never know. You might be getting something back from 2017 or older because, I mean, what they'll do is they'll take these bottles and set them down. And you never know, they might have forgot about it, or they're like, okay, this is the only bottle I have, and I'm going to keep it. Well, now I need to go ahead and get it out of here.
They had extras that one year and wasn't able to acquire them that next year, and then they kind of slowly put them out. So you might get something from 3 years ago.
Yep. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. It's kind of, I mean, people kind of look at me if I go into a bourbon bar. They're like, why are you looking at the bottle? And I'll have to explain myself. But I think it's just a fun thing to do.
It is. It really is. And one of the things that I really enjoy the most about Taylor is the drinkability, which everybody knows I'm a big drinkability fan. So when we get to the barrel proof, I'm going to be really excited to try this fresh cracked barrel proof. I've only had it with a sample one time, and it was an old sample jar. Thank you for the person that sent me the sample. And so this will be the first time I've had a fresh crack on it. The drinkability changes to me on the barrel proof, so I will find out here shortly. But one of the things I love about is some of the adjectives that we use is crushable, because you could literally sit and drink this half a bottle. And then you stand up and you're like, oh boy.
Yeah, I should have done
it. Yeah. It's just one of those, like, it's just so easy to drink and it tastes so good. And again, back to best of 2021, uncut, unfiltered for that best of 2021. This line is just very crushable.
Yeah, I mean, they're 100 proof except for the barrel proof. I mean, there's not many 100 proof bottles out there that you could just sit there and just drink after drink after drink. There are some, but these are pretty consistent. Consistently, these are just phenomenal.
And having finished, we poured the small batch before we started, so we have something in our glass. And again, cheers to you guys. Thanks for joining in.
Yep, like and subscribe, guys, please.
To keep this rolling as we've done in the past, even though we've had a couple of hiatus due to scheduling, some career changes, some traveling. Somebody went to Germany
for 2 weeks. Sorry.
And so we're back at it now, and I would like to say on camera, as always, I do have Bourbon socks on.
I can vouch for that.
Is it a sister company?
It is. Very much so.
And Charles decided to make things a little bit edgy this video without knowing it, and so I'm going to call him out on me wearing a Buffalo Trace shirt, to the distillery that produces this, to him starting the college football season for everybody wearing LSU.
Yes.
So now he has started the trash talk. So just so you know, I had the UT on underneath. So there's our cheers to college football season. Thanks for being back. I'm going to move on to the single barrel.
Yep.
So I'm going to keep the video going.
I'm going to take this one, finish it, and then I'll be right behind you.
Yep. So as everybody knows, one single barrel is bottled and then produced. So each single barrel is technically different. Even if it's an L21, it's a different barrel. Unless you get it from the same barrel, which knowing that is kind of difficult. The way you can tell is, again, back to that laser code, because it actually tells you the time and the day and all that stuff. As far as you just have to know how to read that code.
You gotta decipher it.
Yeah, and once you decipher it, you can tell if it came from the same barrel or not, because it's based off of the time.
Right.
But they don't put, like some single barrels will put this barrel number.
Right.
But they don't do that on theirs, so you can go to the time and see when it was. And then the only downside would be is if they bottled one back to back without, then it could be close time.
Right.
Yeah. But they had to clean the lines, they had to break that down and all that fun stuff. So
if there's any bleed over, I would be very surprised.
They usually have to pump it all out. And actually, part of the issue, talking about single barrels and things like that, in the breakdown in the supply chain right now, unfortunately, is the manpower.
Oh, really?
Because we're having, not me, I'm not there. This is what I've been told. They're having to pull people off their standard bottling and stop production for a moment and bring them over to the single barrel bottling to get those going. So that's why the delay right now is, in some companies, between 6 and 10 months to get a single barrel pick at a store.
Well, it kind of makes sense because we've seen the single bottle line, and at least the one we've seen, it is literally off of the main, and it is very manual. It is not
Oh,
as
yeah,
automated.
No,
as
it's all done by hand right there. It's really neat. We've been to a couple.
Yes.
Yeah, and so even when you're going through Buffalo Trace's distillery, you go to the bottom line, you can see when they're doing theirs, when they're doing Blanton's.
Yep.
Obviously, we all know Blanton is a single barrel. So I've been to that distillery multiple times where they're bottling Blanton's, and you get to see that part with their single barrels.
Yes.
And so you're having to watch them, do the bottles, then stop.
Yep.
And then we've been to 1792 and seen that bottling line, which is a completely separated area,
Correct.
which is really neat because it's just like a two-man operation.
Yeah, it's literally 2-person operation, and it's so, now you understand, and you're sitting there going, okay, why is it taking months? Well,
Yeah.
it takes them at least a day to get
hand
through
doing it, then they're hand stickering
Yes.
for each one of the labels, at least in that facility. Which since we're on Bourbon Banter Evans, let's talk about some bourbon. So the single barrel, we're trying that. We were talking about that, talking about 1792 for a brief moment. Unfortunately, 1792 is now shut down to guests.
Yes, they are.
It is also shut down to barrel picks, unfortunately. If you are with a store or we're going to go do a barrel pick, they're no longer doing those in person because of the manpower shortages or people shortages. It's 2022. We got to be cognitive of that. So they are now, if you get on the list to get a pick of 1792, they pick it for you. They pick it for you. You get to pick what you want, whether it's full proof, single barrel, or bottle and bond. They send it to you. And so luckily, unfortunately, the one you missed out on, the one in February that we went on to pick bottle and bond.
One of the last ones.
It was one of the last ones, yeah. So, man, this nose, though.
Yep. Slight little difference. Not much.
The single barrel and small batch are so close.
To me, the small batch has just got a little bit more of the fruity, the dried fruits
The
on the
single
nose.
barrel, to me, has a little bit of a sweeter taste.
It does.
Or not taste, note to the nose. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, hope you guys have something good in your glass,
Cheers.
too.
Yeah. And honestly, in the comments, tell us what you think so far. What is? I'm sure if you've had the single barrel, small batch, any of these,
What do you think is the best?
Yeah.
And what is your favorite?
yeah, let us know what you think.
And we'll decide at the end of this what we think the best one was of doing a back-to-back-to-back. It's not a true side-by-side because it's a back-to-back-to-back. But we'll kind of give our opinions as far as what we thought the best of the night was. 2 fresh cracks, 2 that have been open for a while. But I don't hate that single barrel at all.
Oh no,
It's actually very good.
it's very good.
Yeah.
They do a good job with their single barrels. I don't think I can. I've had a few of them different years. I can't say that I've had one that I've wanted to just give out.
No. They're all really good. It's just some are really great.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying that this is the best single barrel they produced. I think that this is the best small batch they produced since like 13, 14. But this is a great single barrel that I've had each time with the L21 on there. So I say that this was a killer consistent barrel picking year for the designated barrels to become Taylor.
And I give all kudos to Buffalo Trace because they know whoever's doing the tasting for them knows what the product should be, and they try to stay pretty consistent. And to me, they do a very good job.
That's your master blender.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys don't know who he is, Drew,
Yes.
look him up, and he's on their website and on their social media a lot, talking about different videos and stuff like that. So he's it's kind of different. There was one outlet that said that it's a lot of buzz about the master distiller here in America, but the main people in Europe are the master blenders.
Right.
Whereas he is the master blender here, but he kind of gets the he's very very key role, but the master distiller is the one that's like really like, oh, this is the guy, so that's pretty neat. And so, all right, real quick, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Hope that's all right.
Sure.
Tasting notes, real quick. Your first 2 sips or first one so far.
A little bit to me. I've got a little bit more vanilla on this one, but I get a little bit of not much, but a little bit of spice for some reason. It may be a baking spice or no. I usually don't get that, but that's what I've gotten so
On this,
far.
okay, on this one. So
What about you?
mine's forward on the palate, middle on the tongue, if that kind of makes sense.
Mhm.
All right, so and that's the way it's rolling back. So then it comes back and sits. So I get a little bit of a sweeter note. That could be the vanilla that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Then the small batch on this particular one.
I do.
And it does have a lingering spice. But to me, I think that is possibly something with the barrel.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be any BTM. It could just be the way it interacted.
Because
but it's sitting
Mhm.
in the middle of the tongue.
It is.
And it's not. I don't think it's an allspice spice. I think it's more of a character of the barrel of some sort note, or it is literally just a little bit of the proof showing through on this one versus that one.
And that's why I wanted. I said spice. I said baking spice. I really couldn't tell but it's really not like a baking spice that I would be used to.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
So I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
It's just there is something a little bit of tingling, and you could very well. I think the last one very well could be it. It may be just the proof showing through.
Yeah, it could be the proof showing through on this particular one. Now,
Exactly.
These average between 9 and 10 years. Mostly they're around 9, and these small batches are around the 6. Now this is based off of watching and listening and learning to a lot of Buffalo Trace's videos and things of that nature, and then some other information that we learned while there and seeing the barrels in person and stuff like that. So what I do get on that second sip on this one, to me, this has immediately got more of a drying effect. So it's going to be a little bit more oak tannin forward.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it makes me salivate a little bit, kind of makes me thirsty.
Kind of right. To me, it's more in the middle of the tongue. I'm getting a hug in the middle of the tongue.
It is. Yeah, and it's still very good though. But it's amazing that as close as they look right here in person, is how different they taste right here in this glass.
Yeah. I mean, in the color on them, I was just kind of looking at the color. Color is very.
Yeah, you'd have to. I mean, they're very similar.
Very similar.
But in all actuality, if you were to get them, break them down, like take those labels off and put them in light, it's amazing how different and how slightly more dark. But it is different.
Yeah.
But right here they look the same.
Yeah.
And even so, the Taylor barrel proof sitting next to it doesn't look so much darker than it actually is.
No.
Just sitting here with the lighting. Now I did have new lighting in here, so it could have some effect whatsoever. But
I doubt it's that much. But
yeah.
I'm the barrel proof to me. I've seen it, and because I was actually looking at it. It's pretty dark.
It is. Yeah.
It's pretty dark.
And that one's 127.3.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And so the prior one before that was like 130.2 or 3.
This one's more toned down.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we're about to see how that one tastes. But okay, finish. Now that we've been having the 2 sips and now we talked about it, so the finish should be good and set in. Thoughts on that?
The finish to me, it's not lacking. It's just kind of it just kind of, to me, it just finishes. There's a little bit on the back end, but not nearly as much as, to me.
I get more flavor from small batch.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. The finish, I don't want it. It's like flat. I don't want to say it's flat because it's not flat. There's something there. It's just not as pronounced as the small batch.
It goes away quicker.
It does.
It's there and then it hits and it's gone.
Yeah.
And small batch had more of a linger flavor to it, and so I mean that literally could be the oak. As far as that drying effect. So in this immediate side by side, not blind or anything, we know what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and give drinkability W to the small batch on these two. Not I'm saying overall, but in the meantime.
On these two, I definitely if I were to do these blind, it would be I would hope that I would go with the small batch because knowing it right now and just tasting these two, I prefer the small batch. But if you give me the single barrel, I'm going to drink the mess out of it.
Man, we did the blind on some small batch versus single barrel Taylor store picks. And out of all that, I ended up being the person that picked the small batch.
That's right.
And the store pick was chose from one local and one not local. So the local one wasn't picked. It was the non-local one that was picked. And then a lot of people thought that the other store pick was the small batch. And so I ended up picking the small batch in a blind.
Impressive.
And so it was just at that moment. That's where I was honed in on. I didn't know that it was the small batch. I kind of thought I was leaning on it being a unique store pick maybe, but it ended up being the small batch. So that was kind of funny in that side by side or blind.
And that's a good thing that Justin brought up. You have the single barrel here, right? The store picks could be completely different. It's all going to be on who the people were that decided to do that pick.
That's what makes them fun.
Yes.
Because they're complete, technically on the single barrel world, when it's regular production or shelf production, they have a strict standard that they want it to be the same and consistent all the time.
Correct.
So they can't really control and make it the same, but they're professionals, and so they try to get it as close to always the same as possible. This goes back years ago, and Charles can verify this. So you go back to 05, 06, 07 time, Jack single barrel was a big thing. It's coming back around its popularity with barrel proofs, but the idea was Jack single barrel always tasted the same.
Yes.
And it was one single barrel because they had professionals picking that. So same thing with this. The idea is for them to taste the same, but when it comes to the store picks, you get to pick your own. So each barrel is different, so they're going to have a little bit more of a radical, I think, spin as far as flavor goes.
And that's what's fun about the store picks, because if you don't know, you go into a store you haven't been to before, and you get one of theirs, you never know. It might be something that is a hidden gem, just one of the best things you've ever had, or it could be something you might have had Taylor single barrel before, and you try their store pick, you might not like it as much.
Right.
It all depends on the person that's picking it.
And that's one of the things that we search for is
Yes.
store picks. We would like to try a lot of different store picks. It doesn't matter what the store is.
It's
we
fun.
we just want to know what they taste like, because each one is different, which makes it really fun.
And it's fun to talk to the store owners. Okay, hey, were you on the store pick? Well, tell me about it. And they love to talk about that stuff.
Oh yeah, especially if they've got a good one.
Right.
Yeah, and if they don't have a good one, they're still gonna love it. So, but you never know because again, it's delayed. There's a lot of delays, 6 to 10 months. You pick it like we picked this one in February, and it's still not been bottled.
Right.
So I can't guarantee what that's gonna taste like.
You're gonna have to just relive it, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun right over again. It's similar to the tequila barrel that I picked in 2020 that took a year and a half to be bottled, and it got lost. And so 2.5 years later, it arrived. So that tasted complete. Luckily, it's still really good.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, but
you had to reintroduce yourself to it too, though.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So now here's the big question: do we chance blowing our palates with a barrel proof and then going to a warehouse C, or do we go in line of 100 proofs, which would be normal, and then finish with the barrel proof?
I think we go to the warehouse C.
Thanks.
And then go. That's what I would do, but I don't care. I'm good. Let's do it the way.
I would definitely agree with you.
Okay.
So we're gonna go barrel proof first.
Okay.
So we're gonna see if
There you
this
go.
barrel proof stands up and blows a palate, or if it stays with that great Taylor taste when going to what we've had before, the super premium batch version of a small batch for warehouse C. And I think I want to put it up against that.
It's been so long. I can't tell you I can't remember what it tastes like.
I can't either. So
Yeah.
I think this is gonna be a great little bit of a change of pace.
I just wanted to get to the warehouse C faster.
Yeah. Notice how I poured less of the barrel proof. I want to smell.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Let me smell our control versus a little small batch here. You talk about that's different.
Is it?
Hell yeah. All right, so barrel proof. Cheers to you guys. Thanks for tuning in and watching. Hope you have something good in your glass as well, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be good.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Like and subscribe. Hey, I finally got one in there.
There you go.
That's what she said.
So what are you getting?
A little bit of mine needs to settle. I got a little bit of.
I got a little. I got
some ethanol.
Yeah.
So if we haven't talked about this before, if you have a Glencairn, which these are like the perfect bulb glass designed for nosing, if you get that big puff of alcohol or ethanol that's just sitting there, just kind of tilt it to the side a little bit and just puff a slight bit of air in it, and it'll blow it out. Just kind of like and it just blows it right back out, and then you can dig your nose back in there without burning any.
Not lighting your nostrils on fire. Yeah, I just kind of do a little easy swoosh and then just kind of
blow it out.
Ooh man.
This has got a lot more depth note to it because you can tell it doesn't have. It's no cut. I mean, just all right. Here we go.
I'm getting a lot more of the dried cherry and stuff on the nose.
Ooh.
I'm getting that fruit on the nose.
It's got more of that fruit on the nose. Wait till you try it. It's almost going to seem thin at first, but it's not. Then it opens up to this really nice, easy, non-127 drinking flavor bomb.
Ooh.
And it starts on the tip of the tongue, then it rolls back to nothing and just continues to build with flavor and doesn't overly dry.
Ooh. You know what's weird? I almost say it's almost like the single barrel had a little bit more proof. Almost had a little bit more proof than what this one does, and this is 127.3.
Right. So 27.3 more.
Yeah.
But golly, flavor bomb right now. That's just off the first.
That's off the first.
All right. So now it's coming back, and the tip of the tongue is starting to light up a little bit, so I can tell that it's a barrel proof.
Yep.
It's just starting to build, a little bit, but it's a good build.
But it goes away too. I mean, I'm not getting the hug though. I'm not getting that, and that, granted it's off the first, but I'm not getting that woody hug,
That's sort of lovely. L21, man, I'm telling you, the 21s, it was good out of that sample. Thank you again.
Yes.
This is fresh crack. Again, thank you guys for letting us, get access to these bottles to try these things like this. That's a good barrel proof.
Now I'm getting a little bit of the hug. On the second one,
Yeah,
now I'm
it is. You
feeling
get a little bit of it,
Now I am.
But
that's good.
That's the age, depth, the proof, the uncut, unfiltered, just like this video.
Yes, indeed.
And that's sitting in the middle though, and building up with that tingle from the actual alcohol.
Yep.
But it has no burn.
Though. No, it's no burn. It's just you get that little. It's like a little tingling on your tongue. It's almost.
Yeah, it's just kind of like.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's like after you took a 9-volt to your tongue.
All right, what about Pop Rocks?
Hey man, I think I haven't had those in 20 years.
A little Pop Rock.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
All right, so put you on the spot again. Try to describe some flavors on that.
You know, when I wanted to, on the nose is the dry fruits and everything, but I'm getting more of the sweetness on this.
It's more than I was expecting.
I was too, but I'm getting that. Usually, I'm getting that on the finish. I am getting the fruitiness and everything. Maybe on a little bit, kind of on the tip.
Yeah.
And then it finished for me sweet.
Now, keep in mind the fruitiness that we're talking about it's like a dried fruit or dark fruit.
Yeah.
It's not
like a peach or you know
an
a
orange or something.
Right. No, it to me it's like a dried apricot or a
figs,
dried,
dates,
yes.
Raisins even. You know, and things like that, and they have a tendency to be sweet.
It's just been that to me that's the easiest synonym.
Oh my gosh, the nose on this after a couple of sips is when it really lights up on the nose as far as.
Yep, that's what I just did.
It brings out a sweet, sweet. Like, is that a caramel or vanilla though?
Yes.
I think it's a caramel.
I want to say that too. It's
almost,
not like a vanilla bean flavor smell at all. It's more like a caramel.
It's a caramel.
Yeah. No, I'm impressed by this. I do not remember it being this good. And
well, I had just that sample, and it was good. I was like, oh yeah, it is good. But
now actually being able to get a good 1 ounce pour.
Yeah. Now we did we opened it before we started the video and let it breathe. I mean, it's a barrel proof, so any of the new ones we wanted to breathe. So that's just a common practice that we do. You don't have to. We are big fans of the butt pour. We are not fans of the neck pour. No. Which is a term that we think is pretty silly. So we call it the butt pour.
Yes. The bison butt pour.
The bison butt pour, that's right. Yeah. All you got to do to fix that is just turn the bottle upside down. No more neck pour. Yeah. Which is a silly term anyway.
So I'm gonna ask you.
All right.
So far, out of these 3, they're all 3 phenomenal.
They are.
But if you out of just tasting, what's more?
The back to back. Okay.
Out of these 3 right now, what is today? Because tomorrow could be something totally
Tomorrow's different. Yeah.
But today, what do you think so far?
Right off the rip, I'm more impressed with the barrel proof, but drinkability, crushability, small batch still for the W. It's just it hits such great flavor. The whole process all the way through.
Yeah.
And you could Now, could I have 1 or 2 glasses of the barrel proof? Sure. Am I going to feel the effects of it? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not one of the. I generally don't sit around and just drink a lot of higher proof ones, because it's it's a shorter trip.
Well, honestly, if I'm going to drink a high proof, I will like 1 glass and a Glencairn. Neat. That's usually what I do.
And then I'll go.
I go down to. I mean, I'll do VOB 86. I'll go down to a drinker. Usually anywhere between 86 and 100 is usually where I'll even out. Usually around 90 proof is where.
So, quick question for you, real quick.
Sure.
Do you hear that? Quick question, real quick.
Yep.
We're going to do this like hot wings. Next time we're going to have some hot wings and just have to answer questions while drinking bourbon and hot wings, which would be completely destroyed.
No, you're talking about this one would be hot after that. Taste some hot wings.
So, what are we looking like on time?
Right now we are about 20-something minutes in. All
right, so we're looking good on time. So if we go through this, then I say we continue on, because now I'm even more curious after that barrel proof as to this bad boy.
I am curious too.
I want to know what this bad boy tastes like after that.
I do too. But I'll tell you, I mean, thank you for everybody that's allowed this to happen. Really appreciate it. These are just 21.
Best of 2021.
I just want to know what they did in 21. Because I want them to recreate that every year.
Now, here's the cool thing: is we're way into 2022, and we've had 2022 small batch and single barrel.
Yes, we have.
And 2021 still beat them.
It did.
And so they are still very good. And I will not change my mind that they're not good. They are very good. But 2021 for the W, especially across the line, because I thought for a minute we might pick, oh man, that EC was amazing for this one, or this one was, but the whole line that Taylor produced, their barrels that just happened to mature that time, killer good.
Well, I mean, we've even talked about it, and there's a video we have out there. Even the label size, the laser code.
Yeah.
Holy cow, there was difference in that too.
Big L's and little L's.
Yes, indeed. It's I'm very impressed by what they did in 21 with their picking.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, just like Justin said, 22s are phenomenal, but it's just for something. 21 is just kind of like, for me, is just a shot in the dark that was just amazing.
All right, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
All right, let me turn towards Charles. Do you think, like 2020 was for retail, industry, supply chains, and things like that, do you think 2021 was a anomaly year?
It very well could be. I was kind of curious about that myself because liquor stores and everything with what was happening were still open, but nobody was doing barrel picks. Nobody was.
They shut down so many things.
Exactly. So I'm just wondering if they had more to choose from,
and therefore
they were able to actually go through. They had more to choose from.
That's a good
They
thought,
might
a
have-
good question.
they might
Tell
have-
us what you guys think on
Yeah.
that, or if we're just way out in left field and you guys think we're absolutely crazy. Definitely comment and let us know.
And let us know if you found one of these. You've tried an L21.
What if you hated it?
Or if you tried an L21 against L22 and you like the 21 or the 22 better, let us know in the comments
let us
because
know.
this is what I love about this. This is what we think, and sometimes you and I are not even on the same page with
That's
some
right,
things. And what we say is not gospel because everybody is different, and we'd like to know what you guys say.
Some is gospel.
Should say. Well, some.
The fact that it's DSBKY1,
That is not gospel.
That's legit.
And
It's that distillery. Yeah.
BT what? One?
What? Yeah.
That's.
How about there has been some rumors and a sample sent to a BT2 Taylor barrel pit for a store pick.
Really?
Yeah, just like there's BT1 Blanton store picks. I've had both.
Interesting.
Weird things, strange things have happened.
Well, I mean,
When you're running out of juice or you're looking for juice and it creates the profile that you're looking for,
you do what you got to
you do
do.
what you have to do.
Yep.
Well, sir, what's on the docket for next?
You tell me. I'm just here for the ride, man.
That barrel proof is a good ride.
That is phenomenal. I might have to have another one of those after we end the video.
No such thing as post video.
No, there's not.
No,
we don't do that at all.
No, we would never take all this bourbon from people that helped us get it and drink extra.
No.
That being
I
said,
was talking about.
yeah, beer. That being said, there's no other choice. We have no choice, Charles. We must try the warehouse seed.
I think we go there and then we look at time.
Oh yeah, we'll look
We
at
got to
time.
try control.
Yeah.
We got to do control.
So we all know that the issue with warehouse C, very tough to get. We are very aware, so we're very fortunate, and we thank everybody involved.
Yes.
So this is like the super premium picked small batch of 10-year, by the way. This is a 10-year age stated Taylor,
Yes, it is.
specifically from Warehouse C, which was the old super famous warehouse that E.H. Taylor, Edmund Haynes Taylor, decided to designate for a lot of his OFC brands, old fashioned or old fire copper, depending on how far you go back in time. And then, of course, 1897, he was a big part of the Bottle and Bond Act, and that was a big thing.
Huge part.
Huge part. And so that was his main, one of his warehouses that he used to store some of his finest stuff in. And it survived the tornado, so they had a tornado surviving. It tore the roof off and things like that. And so they put a little Tar Heel blue on there.
I like it.
It looks good.
I like
it.
the
Does
blue.
look good. And so now we have the Warehouse C specific bottled and bond 10-year age stated, essentially batch. It doesn't say small batch on there, so we'll just call it batch because it's several barrels. No, it doesn't state single barrel, so it's going to be a batch of some sort, whether it's small, big, or what. Regardless, we like to describe it as a premium pick of single barrels because of the age.
Yes.
Made into a small batch, more than likely, from Warehouse C only.
So, question for you: is Taylor going to do something similar to this every year? You think?
Well, so Warehouse C would be kind of like the answer to your season wood,
Right.
Your 18-year marriage, your not season, but cured oak, your 4-grain, your Amaranth grain of the gods. So that was their annual release of something special, something cool to do.
Yep.
And so that falls in line with that. That was one of their big
And that's
releases.
That's what it was. That's what the word I was looking for. Annual. So.
And so the cool thing is I hope they keep finding different ideas to come up with. But the fact that they did this entire batch out of Warehouse C is very unique.
It is.
And this is why, because I'm going to dive into a little bit nerdy real quick.
Go for it.
So we've been there, we've seen it, we've on site, physically have photos, have evidence of Taylor comes from multiple warehouses. In order to keep up with production, the idea that one warehouse could produce it is kind of not fathomable as far as mathematics goes.
No.
So there's X amount of barrels in a warehouse. There's only X amount of barrels that those bottles, or that those barrels produce bottles for. So if you had a perfect, which I consider 240 after evaporation, depending on what the year is, times 33,000 barrels, you can do the math on that. You're having to put this out and fill that warehouse constantly over and over. So warehouse I produced some really good Taylor picks. The reason I know that is because I have a couple in the background that we've already finished from around the state, and had some other states that had some warehouse I as well. Well, warehouse H, if I remember correctly, which I'm pretty sure I do, is a big Blanton's producer.
Okay.
I don't. Okay, I'll leave that alone. That's a different story for a different conversation.
Okay.
All right, so we'll leave that alone. Warehouse H produces things too. So warehouse C, again, this is every single thing from warehouse C. The cool thing is knowing that you're trying everything warehouse C, and this is not Taylor or BT1 aged at a different location, at the location they're looking for on that warehouse or rickhouse site, and then molded into a Taylor brand. So this is kind of it's kind of like playing an homage to the original.
It is, and I think it's cool that I agree with you that it's coming from one warehouse.
Yeah,
or what we would call the rickhouse. But when you go in there, to think that all of the bottles and however many they produce, uncut, unfiltered.
That's right.
For the entire world
came from
one
rickhouse.
Yeah, that is pretty phenomenal.
Not to say they can't do a big dump for other things of that nature.
Right.
But most of the time, even if you look at the Build-A-Bear sheet, as I call it, for the BTAC, if you get a case of BTAC, even if you don't get the case, if you just get the box and it has the paper in there, which a lot of people have, they say those papers, it's really neat. That I call it the Build-A-Bear sheet because it tells you everything on there. It'll tell you the different warehouses that were used to make that BTAC batch.
That's cool.
And so this is all C.
Yep.
So cheers to you, sir.
Cheers.
Cheers to you guys. Hope you have something good in your glass as well. Damn, may have just changed my mind.
Tell you what, nose is so similar to the small batch to me.
But it's like a super premium version.
Oh yeah. But the nose is again, to me, it's not it's a sweet nose to me. It's that dried, fruity to me.
Oh, if you do that cross brain, it gets real sweet on one side and then it goes to a different.
Justin, it's been a while since I've had the Warehouse C.
It's mighty good.
Holy cow.
That is, it doesn't disappoint.
No, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're getting at with the
cross brain
yeah.
smells. So if we haven't mentioned this in a while in videos, which I can't remember if we have or not, I'm pretty sure we did.
With the cross?
Yeah, the cross. So your brain reads the opposite of your nose.
Yep.
So it's crossed. So if you want to know what your brain's reading on this side, close this nostril and it crosses this way. You want to know on this one, you'll get two different noses, and think of it like this. It goes this direction and this direction. So it's literally this nostril, close this one down if you want, or if you're familiar with doing this a good bit, just kind of roll it over. And then it's going to tell you what that part of your brain is reading, because there's different olfactory system. Yeah, you're right. and senses that they read, and you'll get two different noses, which is really cool.
Yeah. What are you getting on this one?
Getting a very toned down version of the barrel proof meets a very mild version of the small batch, and then the slightest bit of that I'm even alcohol.
I'm getting
with a little bit of a sweetness.
I'm almost getting no proof on that whatsoever. I am getting the hug.
That's how I remember it the first time. It's just a premium. If I could put it that way, a premium. Like if you could get the best of the best of single barrels, put them together, and poof, make a 10-year, that's what you have.
I am getting a little bit of the hug, so I can tell it's a little...
Yeah, you can tell it's older.
It's older.
So then you have come back to the single barrel, like, okay, I get a little bit of that. But I keep referring to a small batch because it's a batch.
It's a batch, right.
And, I mean, tell us, what are your thoughts? Have you had Warehouse C? Have you had a chance to try it at a bar? Was it worth it to you? Did you think it wasn't worth it? Would you rather have any of these other ones versus that? And again, like Charles said earlier, is for the best of 2021, what was your favorite for 2021?
Right.
We picked the entire line because the line came out, it was fantastic.
To us, this was, for 2021, this is a fantastic line. That's why this is, for us, the best of 2021.
Can't wait to do best of 2022.
I know. I'm impressed.
Yeah. So far, Taylor has been good 2022, but it hasn't been 2021.
No, it's not. I don't think it's, as far as taste, to me, 2021 has got it beat. I mean, it's, we've said this a million times. It's not, you can't go wrong with 2021 or 2022 or 20.
You can't go wrong with the brand right now.
Exactly.
I mean, so
they do such a phenomenal job, and hats off to them. I mean, honestly.
I wouldn't be surprised if at one point there isn't, if they pick back up in their barrel proofs, if they don't kind of come back around full circle, and you might see some best of 2020 this year, and it'd be Elijah on the table.
Yeah.
It's very possible because you've got, small batch, you've got barrel proof, toasted, and 18 because they dropped the other ones. And so who knows, they may have a great year of some HH juice that comes out, and that one takes the cake.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could be the Weller line.
Very well could be.
It could be the Weller line, but the Weller line was really good, and I will admit, first off, which everybody knows I'm not a giant fan of the CYPB, the 21 Weller CYPB was fantastic.
It was phenomenal. That is probably one of the first CYPBs that I've actually enjoyed. Yeah. To be honest with you, and I'm just not. I'm with Justin. I'm not a CYPB fan, but that 21, we had the opportunity to try it, and I was like, I don't want to try it, and Justin was like, no, you have to. I was like, okay. And I was expecting the worst. And I was like, holy cow, was I just totally wrong. That was some good stuff.
It was.
Just 21 altogether. And I'm just wondering, we put it in the comments. If you agree 21 was, or if 21 was it, tell us what you think, why it was, what possibly could have made 21 such a good year for bourbon. Or if you think it wasn't that good, tell us why you didn't think it was that good.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we're open to everything. Again, that's why we call this banter, so we can talk about it.
And honestly, ask any questions you have because we will gladly, we won't get into them obviously on this one, but we will try to answer as many questions as we can on the next video.
And we're going to, again, try to focus on our schedules changing, careers changing, Germany changing, Iowa, all that fun stuff that we've been to, or you've been to. I've been in the career thing. But again, we're going to try to focus on getting back to doing some more videos and just have some more fun, try some more bourbons. We've discussed we're going to do a little bit more lives and things like that because we're getting into bourbon season.
Yes, indeed. And look out for those. And just keep an eye on, like and subscribe because that's the way you're going to understand when we come on. If you are subscribed to us, it'll let you know right off there. And we're going to start trying to do probably some more live events, just as many videos. And that way, if you subscribe to us, it will let you know as soon as we go live and you can watch and you can even ask questions on there because we usually try to have somebody behind the camera.
Behind the camera responding, letting us know. Yep. So, real quick on the warehouse seed, I got this little bit of hug. I kind of draw it up a little bit. And then I got this nice little, I've got ethanol around the pockets of my lips. But it was not an unpleasant whatsoever spice.
No.
It's actually very good. It makes me want to lick my lips and kind of like get the flavor out of it.
Right.
And so the other ones didn't quite do that. So that's a unique quality that you just picked up on that. But it could be today. It could be what I ate earlier,
Yeah.
But either way, that's...
I'll tell you what, though. Warehouse C to me is great. I like the finish on the barrel proof, though.
That finish was...
And nothing against any of them, but just that is the one thing that's kind of stuck in my brain from the barrel proof was the finish on that one.
All right, let me ask you this.
Okay.
All right, put you on the spot again.
Sure.
Is Warehouse C lighter, or is it not lighter with more depth and just toned down because of proof than barrel proof?
I would say it's just more toned down because of proof.
So not lighter.
Not lighter.
Not lighter. Okay. Is small batch lighter and just killer good batch than aforementioned near ages?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that could be a factor that drives why we are so raving about it.
Yeah.
It really could be.
Yeah.
Because this has that flavor that just keeps drawing me back and it doesn't ever dry me out or anything like that.
No, it's
just straight through. Whereas you get more of the tan from these little bit older ones. So.
And I mean, you just, for me, out of here, out of these four, right now, if I had to choose,
Let's do it.
yeah, I'm just
By all
gonna go
means.
ahead.
You go first.
If I had to choose from these, honestly, right now, just drinkability. I'm just going by what I like as far as drinkability and everything else like that. I've got to go with a small batch. Yeah, and it's got great flavor. The only thing that I liked more out of this was I liked the finish on the barrel proof a little bit more than I did the other three. But that one is just phenomenal.
I like what you said. I'm going to take it and spin it just a little bit.
All right.
All right, so let's spin it. Let's take the bourbon around table and spin it a little bit. Yeah,
get them close to us.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So this is how I'm gonna, rate and vote.
Okay.
I'm gonna do this different than I've done the whole time.
Yeah.
So I look at it and I like what you said. It made sense. I agree with you, and so I would not disagree with you. But this is what I look at it as.
Sure.
If somebody's coming over to my house and I'm sharing bourbon because that's what I do, I'm sharing these three.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting at my house watching football and I'm drinking bourbon, I'm drinking small batch.
Exactly.
That right there, killer good.
Yeah.
And to this day, since having had it in multiple situations, even in double blinds and things like that, or just blinds, it's hard to beat the drinkability.
I mean, you just can't.
Drinkability is so high. Drinkability is high on these, but as far as sitting there and just drinking multiple barrel proofs or multiple single barrels and that, that tannin builds up. I'm not saying you can't counteract that with a couple drops of water, small ice cube, or things like that. You can make these really open up and things of that nature. But just going through this line, I don't know what it is, but I'm more drawn to me personally taking this one and just sitting there and pouring it while watching football or smoking a cigar by a fire, sitting outside, out back, having conversation, and just drinking it till it's gone. Whereas these are more along the lines of I'm probably gonna share.
Yeah.
And if I would definitely share this, but for the most part, I would have no problems if I just saved that to myself and just kept on.
I agree.
If I wanted to have 2 or 3 that night, have 2 or 3 of that and be completely fine.
Yeah, I mean, you could have multiple, just like Justin said, you could have multiple of these. But the thing is, these do have, to me, they have more of that hug. They have the more of the age. And I'm with you. I don't mind, but I can't. It's not that I can't drink it. I don't want to drink this all night.
It's usually just I want to hit one.
Yes.
And go to something else.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, man, that's a one hitter, so good. Let's go to this. But that one keeps leading me back to this is so good. Let's have another. So good. Let's have another. So good. Let's have another. Time.
I think we're gonna pour this and then we'll give it one sip and then we'll say our goodbyes.
All right. This is our control, and anybody that wants to try it, just anytime you want to. Welcome over. We both have a control bottle.
Yes, we do. Mine's just a little different.
Yep. His is a different decanter than mine, but they're both in decanters. They're both disguised. They are not Seagram's VO and whatever your decanter was. So this is another time.
Old Fitz 11?
Yeah, I think it's Old Fitz decanter. Yeah. It was super cool decanter, by the way.
It is.
And for those that are interested to know what the original Old Fitz decanters look like, this is a true Old Fitz decanter from 50s, 60s, 70s, give or take.
Yeah.
When you look it up on eBay, it's 50s, 60s. So that is the true, and it's so much thinner, but that's a true Old Fitz.
And it's so similar. It's still very similar.
And guess which juice this would have been? A little Stitzel-Weller.
Yes, it would have been.
So the man himself would have been involved in why that was Stitzel-Weller. And of course, he wasn't alive that I know of.
Not that I know of.
I don't remember what year he died, actually.
Now, real quick, nose on this, whoa, different.
Whoa. Now we're switching. We're not going to say what, not going to say where, not going to say why. Could be the same.
Could be the same. We could be just lying to you.
Yeah.
You never know.
You might have to just hit us up and try the control by itself and just see what you think. We've had several people comment on how good the control is.
And also, what we need, give us some ideas. Some other ideas you like for us to see us do on Bourbon Banter Evans. And then guess what? If we choose it, come try the control.
Come try the control. Come get on the video with us.
Exactly.
Yeah, reach out to us if you want to be on the video.
Yep.
That is good.
It is always good.
Don't forget, we've only had one bourbon court because we only had one person challenge, and that was me challenging you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that wants to challenge your bottle versus my bottle, it's very good.
Very good.
It's so good. You got to try this control. Bourbon court is still a thing.
We need it. So get on there. Let us know. You got some ideas. All right, Justin.
That's it.
That's
Man,
it.
that control is so good. You got to try it. So cheers to you guys.
Cheers, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.